Hey, my name is Travis.
And I'm Larry.
And I'm Dan.
And welcome to Fatherhood.
Some assembly required.
Okay, so today on Fatherhood, Some Assembly Required, we have one of our dads, Dan, as he's introduced. Now, Dan, you work as a part. Now, Dan, what do you do aside from being an awesome dad? What do you do?
That could be a stretch.
I know, we all say that.
My wife and I, Valerie, we own this company, VIP DJ Entertainment, and we send out DJs and entertainment for parties and weddings and whatnot, corporate events.
Now, but you don't just do that.
No, that's not what I just do.
What else do you do?
I'm an actor and a musician.
Oh, cool. And now, is that your main instrument?
This is my main instrument, yes, and pretty much my only instrument. I dabble.
So doing all of that, being, working your own company, and then being an actor, how does that work with your daughter? And especially if you're both kind of doing it, do you have to trade off a lot? Do you?
It can be a little rough. I think working with your spouse can be a little difficult.
Yes, I agree with that.
Sometime maybe we should have another show, a spin-off called Husbandhood.
Husbandhood.
A lot of
husbandry.
Husbandry. A lot of assembly acquired. So yeah, it gets tense because we're always in the house together. We're trying to get her stuff done. I'm trying to, she has got a meeting, I got a meeting, she's got to do her thing, I do my thing. And then, who's going to pick up Katie? Who's going to go to school? And it can be taxing.
It is. I wanted to tell everybody how I met Dan when I became a member of this great fraternity of being a father. We saw each other at the park. We would see each other often at the park. But when I really, really, really got to know you, knew that I love you, is that we were at a parenting group.
Oh,
it was called, what was it? Nonviolent parenting.
Nonviolent
parenting. And while we were in the room,
run by people who are single.
The guy had kids because I was thinking the same thing. He has to be single. Because everyone in the room, when we were sitting there, when everyone gave their story about the problems that they have with their children, and it was, I guess there are problems, but people were saying things like, the other day I picked them up from school, we went walking, and they just took off running in the field. And I just didn't know. And the guy's answer to those things I thought were hilarious. So after like 6 of those type of problems, one lady said she was just screaming, my child was just screaming at the grocery store while I'm shopping.
I remember that now. I do remember that issue. Everybody had kind of mellow stories. And no one really rocked the boat with their stories. Yes. And then I came in, it was about brushing teeth, and it was about controlling, but she won't do it. How do you end up getting her to do it? How do you get your kids to do the things that they won't do when you need them to do it? And you can't, they have to get to bed.
They got to get to bed.
You have to get them to do something, and you can't. But then this little, I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop, so to speak. I'm waiting for my wife to jump in, and I don't want her to jump in. I want to be able to handle it myself. But I'm just like, I know I can do this. I know I can do it. But if I raise my voice too loud, she's going to jump in. So,
see that? Go ahead, finish.
But it's just that's the whole thing is you can't control them sometimes, and it's all you want to do is you just want to control them.
So you are working really hard to get Catherine to brush your teeth or get ready, and the key thing is you don't want Val to step in.
Right. I don't want her to step in because when she steps in, I kind of get this feeling like she's taking Katie's side, Catherine's side, I can't help. I got to call her Katie. Yeah, I get this feeling like all of a sudden it's two against me. Like there's too much estrogen here. We had a cat at the time too that was female, and I'm thinking, man, this is we got to get a male dog in here or something. We got to get some. Anyway.
Well, but you know, so what's interesting though, and I appreciate you saying that this thing of having Val come in, because Kim and I have talked about this, because it would usually be me that would come in for something if they were kind of going quite often, and sometimes Kim does. But she would talk about it as in, it's the kind of like, well, why are you coming in? And well, because I'm trying to help, but what it really kind of can come across as is like, well, you can't do it right, so I'm coming in.
That's exactly what it comes.
And so I, you know, until Kim says, Travis, you take over, I have to step out, because it's like, well, you're undermining me, and you're showing to our daughter or whatever that you are not capable. That you're saying that I am not capable of doing this, and like that's not fair. Let me do this, so I can appreciate the fact, you know, coming from both sides, that you, like, well, I can do this, and maybe I won't do it right or whatever, but until I like say, okay, you know what, I'm done. Which I think is a healthier than yelling, and like you get so frustrated that sometimes you go, okay, I tag out.
Well,
you go in because I just can't do it.
Tagging out is probably a good idea. If people have that, I mean, I've heard like there's different ways to do it. Tag out. Valerie says what we should do is do a take two. You know, when. Oh, but I guess that's more of a take two is between us.
A do-over.
Yeah, like a do-over. But it's hard to do a take two when you're with your daughter and she's, you know, being a 6 or 7 year old.
Being a human being.
Yeah,
really.
Being her beautiful self.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But her beautiful self is not doing what I want her to do.
But you know, for all of the tensions that we go through of being in a house together so much, I guess I am a very lucky guy.
Okay, guys, so that's going to do it for this little segment. Catch our next segment as we talk more about Dan and being a dad with him.
Got a lot to say. We got a lot to say.
Got a lot to say and a very little time to say it.
Yeah.